How do you feel empowered?
Welcome back to Sales Operations for Small Businesses.
How do you feel empowered, resilient, avoid burnout in sales operations when you are new to the role or you're surrounded by people who all have their own ideas about what sales ops is based on some podcasts that they've listened to? That's about an industry or an organization that is in no way level to theirs. So you know what I mean when you're listening to those podcasts and they're dealing with businesses that have 2,000 people and the company that you're in has 110, and they're trying to come back to you, usually the owner of the business, and saying, "Oh yeah, there's this really cool thing that's out there. Let's do that." And you're sitting there thinking, "This is not going to help us in any way, shape, or form. That is outside of my skill set, which is the reason why I'm working over here in a small business. And why? What? Have you thought about this?" It's difficult. It's difficult. It's why, I've thought about this long and hard. I've said it, repeatedly. You can have all of the tools in the world, but it's like having a really, really nice car. The car's purpose is to get you from A to B. If you don't know how to drive the car safely, the car's not going to go anywhere, or the car's going to go directly off of a cliff or into a tree. Whereas you can have a car that's a super fancy car or a general runaround car. And if you know how to drive it, you can still drive it safely and it can still get you where you need to go. And that is why my focus at the Sales Ops Effect is about the technique. It's about the personal, professional skills that you need in order to be able to get really far in this career, in order to be able to rise up and be a department leader if that's what you want. Or eventually, in my opinion, I feel like our function will end up evolving to being a part of the C-suite under a business excellence banner, but that's something for another story. For the moment, let's just talk about those skills, because there are things that you do need to do and things that you don't need to do. And there is, I'm very, very happy to say, a course coming up called Empowered Sales Operations that teaches you all about the personal and professional skills that lead you to understanding what it takes to being a leader, being able to feel confident in your decision making, knowing what priorities are, knowing how to manage upwards and manage sideways so that you can balance your workload and do what is necessary for the business so that you can get all of that written down. You can see the successes that you were key to being a part of, to grow this business that you can then use for yourself. Because let's face it, you're working for these businesses, but you're not going to stay out all of them forever. So you make sure you write all of that stuff down. But how do you do all of that work? How do you do it well? How do you deliver all of these projects, one after another, after another, after another? How do you manage that change in an environment where people may not even necessarily know what sales operations is about? People might not even be taking you seriously. Sometimes you might not take you seriously. Sometimes you're feeling imposter syndrome, and that is what the Empowered Sales Operations is about. And I'm so, so proud of it. It's what I would have wanted years and years ago. And it all comes from my own learning experiences about growing up in this field before I even knew that it was sales operations. I came into this world organically because I was in a small business and I could see the disconnect between the sales team and the operations team, because I was running operations at the time, operations and marketing. And I was thinking, well, all of these things, they don't run. And then I was managing the CRM because the CRM was pretty much only used for marketing. It's like, what's going on? What's going on here? So I want to let you know, there is a guide, the 5 do's and don'ts to staying resilient in sales operations. That's on salesopseffect.com/library. It's free. And I would truly encourage you to download it because it includes many, many things that you need to do in order to keep your head. And obviously, I'm never going to encourage anybody to stay in an environment that's actively hurting them. Leave if you need to leave. But in a lot of cases, we simply just don't know how to manage the flood of information coming at us, how to boost ourselves up, how to set our own boundaries, which are so important, and then affirm those boundaries. You make sure they're standing up. If somebody's trying to knock against them, how do you deal with that? So that guide is there to really, really help you through that. And the course that's coming up, I'm really, really looking forward to that, because there's also going to be a community with it and everything. Again, is what I would have wanted. I've spoken to so many people that are looking forward to being a part of it as well. And I'm very happy and very, very proud. So if you would like to feel more empowered, if you would like to feel confident, if you would like to feel strong in your decision making, because it's coming from an informed place rather than just guessing based on what's out there. If you want to feel solid in yourself and not just being pulled in one direction and pulled in another direction, if you want to take control over your project plan and know that you've planned that in the most efficient way so that one thing leads over to another, if you want to know how to do all of that, then I really hope to see you on the course when it launches. There is a wait list for it. You can get that on salesopseffect.com. But if you download the guide, that's what I have available for you right now, in between the time that the course is ready. And obviously it's going to be there afterwards, but the course is coming. The 5 do's and don'ts guide is what I have for you right now to really, really help you, because trust me, I know what it feels like when it feels like you can't do anything right. There's nothing else more you can do in a day. You've already worked 12 hours. You've looked at this information 5 different ways and you still can't get to the answer that they're asking you to. And that's often because they don't know what they're asking you. They don't know what they're asking you. And within the Empowered Sales Operations course, we talk about how you actively have to manage upwards and ask questions in a certain way so that people actually explain themselves. And sometimes when they initially come to you with hey, I need you to do this, it's not the time to ask them right then and there. You might think that's always the time to clarify it on the spot. And it isn't always. It depends on the mood that they're in. Because let's face it, some people are very egotistical and don't like to be questioned. So you do have to wait, depending on the person, for the right time to say, hey, I know you were looking into this, and you've got your supportive questions that you're going to ask them about. And if you ask questions in a certain way, people will lead themselves to the answer of, do you know what? Let's put that on the back burner. We don't need that right now. And you've saved yourself months of trouble, months of going back and forth with someone who can't admit that they asked you to do something that was impossible and unnecessary and is just wasting their time, but still having you do the work. So the 5 do's and don'ts guide is on salesops.com/library, ready for you now. And I will keep you posted about the Empowered Sales Operations course that is coming soon. Soon. There's a lot of work that's going into it. So thank you so much. If you want to know any more information about it, just write in the comments, get in touch with me on YouTube or TikTok or Spotify, wherever you're listening to or watching this. And I really look forward to speaking to you soon.